Okay, hi, I'm Casey, and I'm back doing more shit you've already seen from all your favorite booktubers. Today I want to talk about my most disappointing reads of 2023. I feel like my reading for the most part in 2023 was really solid and really good, but I did have some stuff I was very disappointed by, and I want to talk about that today. None of these are in any particular order. I'm not, I think really and truly my worst books are the only one that I have like a very solid like 10 to 1 list for. This is just in general like the books I found disappointing, so don't think that the last book I'm going to talk about here is the book I was the most disappointed in, because I don't even begin to know how to rank these. The first one I'm going to talk about is All About Love by Bell Hooks. This one hurts. This one hurts. This is a nonfiction book. This is a famed feminist author, Bell Hooks, talking about love and just talking all about it. And this was disappointing because it was filled with some of the most profound, thought-provoking ideas I had ever heard of in regards to love, followed up by stuff that just completely missed for me. I am not a person who is spiritual or religious, so a lot of this in here is talking about like God and the infusion of God in love and spirituality in love, and so a lot of that for me just completely just disconnect. Didn't really work at all for me. And it's, as much as there was stuff in here that I thought was so incredible and really thought-provoking and really impactful and stuff I'll think about for the rest of my life, there was also just stuff in here that I just kind of was like, that doesn't really work for me. And so that's why it's in my most disappointing. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Women of Troy by Pat Barker. This, oh man, this was such a disappointment for me. It was fine. And I didn't realize, part of this is my fault because I didn't realize this was technically book 2 in a series and that The Silence of the Girls comes before this one. But I didn't really connect with this. I thought it was okay as far as Greek retellings are concerned, but I also I wanted there to be more of the women. I'll be honest. I was like, okay, we're getting a lot of Briseus, and I've forgotten his name now. Oh my god. What's his name? What's his name? I don't want to look for it. I'm not going to look for it. But there was also just a lot of Achilles' son in here. And like trying to make him a more sympathetic character, but also just making him just a vile monster, which was fine. But I expected to get more from the actual, women in here. And like maybe more from Hecuba or, even Cassandra or anything. But no, it's just a lot of Briseus just, being ineffectual, basically. That's so mean to say, but it's really about what happened in here. And I was really disappointed. I thought this was gonna be great, and I was let down. I should also just say all this shit is my own opinion. If you love these books, please tell me down below why, because I want to hear why. But these are just my opinions, and I'm sharing them on the internet. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is A Venom Dark and Sweet by Judy Eilen. I had read A Magic Steeped in Poison, which is the first book in the series, and I thought it was all right. I enjoyed it. I really wanted to continue in it just because I had found it pretty engaging. I thought the magic system was really good. And then when I read the follow-up, which is A Venom Dark and Sweet, I hated it. I hated it. I thought it wasn't very good. Mostly because I felt like there was such a massive tonal shift between the two, right? And I wanted more of the magic system, to be perfectly honest, but we didn't get a lot of it. There was very little of it. And I thought that the romance was extremely forced, and this is another one that I read all in one day as an audio. I listened to the whole audiobook in one day, and I stayed up really late to finish it because I knew if I didn't finish it that day I was never going to come back to it because I was having such a bad time. And I was so disappointed because I was like I don't want to say pleasantly surprised by the first one, because like I knew the first one wasn't for me. Like that was a bad purchase on my part, but I still had like a good time with it. I still thought it was fun, and I wanted to read the sequel, and then I just didn't enjoy the sequel, and so I was very disappointed. Next one I'm going to talk about is Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. Yes, I said that carefully because I couldn't say it right the first time. This is a kind of thriller set around the Christmas season with a young woman named Eileen, who is just, kind of like a sad girl in her 20s who has an alcoholic father who's really abusive and is just having a very miserable time. And then at her job at the prison, meets this woman that she becomes infatuated with, and then it kind of goes on from there. Again, this is another one I gave it kind of like a begrudging 3 stars because it was fine. It was more like a 2.5. But I was so disappointed because I don't know why. I see people talk about Ottessa Moshfegh and her writing, in particular Eileen, and talk about how much they love it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a great time with it. It's gonna be like kind of spooky horror Christmas time. It's fine. It's fine. I didn't particularly find it engaging. I actually found, like, I like unlikable characters, but I found Eileen to just be a little bit too, I don't know. There was just something about Eileen I didn't really like as a character. So the fact that we spent so much of the book, all of the book, just in her head, I just found to be very frustrating and just, I don't want to say boring. It wasn't necessarily boring, but I didn't have a good time with it. And I was very disappointed because I paid full price for this copy of it and I wanted to really love it and I didn't. Okay, the next one really hurts me to talk about, but it's Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. This one's in this list because I did enjoy it and I thought it was a good book, but I loved Ariadne and I really loved Electra, and this was okay. I wanted this to be like another like, oh my god, this was so good, I can't stop thinking about it. And I haven't thought about this book once since I put it down, except to talk about it in a wrap-up as disappointing. This is following Atalanta, who is a young woman who was left on the side of the mountain and taken in by Artemis, and she is going to join the, oh my god, what's it called? What is it called? The Argonauts, as they go to try to get the Golden Fleece. And this is following her and her journey, and this is talking a lot about expectation and about expectation that other people can put on you and that you put on yourself. And I just didn't think it was as good as the other two. I thought that was very disappointing. And this is another one that the Ariadne and Electra I found at our used bookstore for like really cheap, like really good hardback copies. And so I bought this full price because I was like, I'm gonna love it so much. And it's the one I wish I had bought used. So it's very disappointing. Next one I have here is My Soul to Keep by Tananarive Due. This is another one that's really painful for me because I love this author and I love everything that this author writes, but there was something in here that just didn't work for me. This is following Jessica, a young Black woman who is a journalist who is a rising star in her career, and her husband DeWitt, who, unbeknownst to her, is an immortal and is just trying to live a normal life, and then his immortality and the ways he got it come back and affect their lives. And I loved the first like maybe 75% of this. Like, I have some notes for this one that I took down. The only note I have is, you killed a dog in the first 10% of this book and still I want to read it. How dare you? Because that happens. And I was still so invested and I still wanted to read it, and just somewhere along the way in here it just really started to lose me, and I was so sad. I still ended up enjoying it and I plan on continuing in this series, but I was really sad. I wanted to love the whole thing and I didn't. Next one I have here is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung and translated by Anton Her. This is a collection of short stories and it was promised to be gruesome and gory and disgusting and nasty, and I only thought the first 2 were any of that. They were really good, I really enjoyed it, and the rest of it just really, for me, just fell really flat. I don't think I liked a single other short story in this collection. And it was so disappointing because I thought I was gonna love this so much and I just didn't. Oh, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart. I was really sad about it. I'm still really sad when I think about it. I'm putting it down. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Okay, the next one I have is The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. This is my fault. I put too many expectations on this book because I love the first book from this author and they had nothing in common. So I don't know why I thought that this was going to be a new all-time favorite, and instead just got myself very disappointed. This is a gothic novel following Jane as she is trying to basically arrange this marriage to the town doctor because she doesn't want to be married and it seems like he doesn't really want to be married, and it seems like very convenient for them to put each other together, both get some social credentials by being married at a time when it was uncommon to not be, and then just, you know, not have to do anything. And he agrees to it as long as she will not go to his home. And then the story goes from there. But I thought this was disappointing. I didn't like this. I found Jane to be really dull. I didn't find the house to be particularly interesting when we got to it. And as far as Gothic literature, I really enjoy Gothic literature. I enjoy when it's really slow paced, but there's a lot of tension building, and I didn't think there was much tension in here. I didn't really care for the romance between the two, between Jane and the doctor, whose name I don't even remember. I just overall just thought this was really disappointing, and I had a bad time with it. I see why it was used at the bookstore about a week after it was published. The next one I have is Desert Creatures by Kay Chronister. This is following a young girl named Magdala and her father as they are leaving their home and trying to make their way through this ecologically devastated terrain to try to find a new home. And there's lots of human horror, there's some creature horror, there's a lot of ecological horror. And one of the, this here, I'm done taking TikTok recommendations. This was a TikTok recommendation, and it's got a gorgeous cover. I love it so much. It's the only reason I've kept the book, but this just kind of fell flat for me. I thought the first half was a lot more interesting than the second half, and I wanted more. I wanted more of the cactus skeleton creature things. I wanted it to be weirder, and it just didn't get too weird for me. It didn't get anywhere near weird enough for me, and I found that very disappointing. So, okay, on to the last one, and that's Sundial by Katrina Ward. This is another one. This is my fault. Why did I buy this beautiful, gorgeous hardback at full price, never having read anything from the author, and then read something else from the author, and then put this off for so long, and still think somehow I was gonna love this? I didn't. It was entertaining. We're following Rob as she is dealing with a child who is going through a very hard time and is acting out quite a bit. And she takes her eldest daughter to Sundial, which is her old family home, to try to teach her more about life and their family history, and to kind of escape her abusive husband. And it just, you know, I guess goes from there. I don't know how to say anything else about this book without fully spoiling everything. I will give this book credit. It was very entertaining. I at no point wanted to put it down, but I still just didn't think it was very good. And this is my fault. Why did I think I was going to love this? Why? That's all. Why? I didn't. I had an okay time with it. But yeah, I found it very disappointing. Okay, that's it. That's my most disappointing reads of 2023. Please feel free to algorithm things down below. I will see you next Friday. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and bye. I don't know what else to say. Bye.